Sign language uses space a great deal. Now I'd like to talk about what happens if you come across a person who is deaf and blind as well. You'd still continue using sign language. Deafblind people are able to communicate in sign. But know that some elements won't be used and instead are replaced by touch. I'll talk about this constraint. Suppose I were one of these two people. I'd have to consider how much visual information could be removed because now the use of space between myself and the other person would change, as we'd have to stand close enough for them to touch my hands. This is another area of sign language that has also been studied. And interestingly, some elements are substituted, but existing signs are used. They don't look for something else, as has been tried before. There are two main types of people who are deafblind, and they are quite different. I'll focus on those who continue using sign language. Now, let's say these two people have an interaction. I'll show you some pictures of what that might look like. This person, who is sighted, can sign as they usually would. The deafblind person puts both their hands on top of the other person's hands, moving along with them as they sign. Later, I'll show you a video of an interaction like this so you can see what it really looks like. For the moment, imagine that this person doesn't have any access to visual information. That means they rely on getting information entirely through their hands. But some deafblind people are legally blind, meaning they have limited vision but might be able to see some things, like in this image. The deafblind person is keeping the other person's hands in a place where they can see them. Some deafblind people have tunnel vision, so they'll do this. Again, the deafblind person's hands are on top of their interlocutor's hands. Now, I won't elaborate too much more on this because, admittedly, it's not my area of expertise, and I don't have much direct interaction with deafblind people, but I've certainly seen enough interactions and discussion to know that ASL has to be modified. That means that a lifelong signer, accustomed to a broad signing space and interacting with sighted people, has to constrain space when using a tactile modality. For sighted signers, this modification can take some practice. So, at the same time, there are people who are blind and deaf but continue using sign language. Often, this is because they're already a part of our culture and know the norms of deaf culture. Through signing, deaf-blind people are able to successfully communicate. So, did that lead to culture? Or is culture based on being deaf? Does being deaf make culture, or does language make culture? This is a topic that needs further consideration, which will help in understanding the deaf-blind community, which is not a homogeneous group. A fundamental norm is having an identity as a signer. This is a key distinction, whether a person sees themselves as a signer or not. For example, Helen Keller, pictured here, didn't grow up knowing sign language. So she wasn't a part of deaf culture. And by that, I mean she didn't know that there were people out there who could perceive a visual language through touch. She didn't take part in that community because the people in her community provided input by using the manual alphabet. Having mastered that, she later learned some lip reading by touching people's faces. I'll show a clip of this as well so you can get a sense of how information is perceived through the hands. She never interacted with the deaf world or learned sign language, but when reading her life story, you learn that she was initially sighted and hearing, but became both deaf and blind at the same time. She did create some of her own home signs, but didn't continue to build on that system because she had been given an alternative way to communicate. Now, there are those like Helen Keller who are both deaf and blind, but there are other deaf-blind people who are a part of deaf culture because they have a primary identity as a signer. So that means our community must consider how to adapt our language to better enable deafblind people to have access. This accommodation is simply another type of constraint. What type of information is needed to be processed by the mind?